I'm your host, Donna Cates, and each week we'll dive into powerful stories, expert strategies, and practical tools to help you take charge of your financial future. Whether you're planning for retirement, navigating a divorce, or simply looking to build your wealth with confidence, this is your space to grow, learn, and thrive. Let's get started with today's podcast. I'm excited to introduce you today to Julie Flowers. She is the owner of Elevate You Coaching. And Julie, I'm really eager to delve deep into your career journey. It's been a big one, and I love for you to share with our audience. Give us that 90-second overview of what you do and why you got into it,
I love
please.
it. The 90-second, get it done. Let's do it. I love it. So rapid fire here. So almost 3 decades in corporate America. Majority of that, about 27 years with Chevron. So oil and gas industry, third generation. So I had oil running through my veins. Loved every minute of that ride. Learned so much. I was an HR executive there where I lived and worked in the United States in 2 different locations, Angola, Africa, and now back in Houston as well. It's been a ride, but I always say Chevron is like an academy of learning, right? I learned so many great things at that company doing the different roles that I had. And then I transitioned last year to leave Chevron and pursue my passion and my purpose in life, which is to be an empowerment coach for seasoned career women. So I started my own coaching company. So I coach individually, I coach cohorts, teams. I do public speaking, which is my jam. I love it a lot as well. I co host a podcast and about to be an author in a book that I'm collaborating on. So, very exciting times in the last year.
Absolutely. Well, go ahead and share with us the name of your upcoming book.
Yeah, so the collaboration is a woman by the name of Mel C. This will be her third book. She did one herself called Six Figure Chicks, and then she did one which is Phoenix based authors, and now she's doing one with Houston based authors. So, all women coming together to share their story that really motivates and inspires other women that things can happen for you too. Here's what we've learned. Here's what we went through. Tips and tricks, affirmations, all the good stuff. It's amazing.
That sounds fabulous. And that's what I love about having you on the podcast today because we're all about empowering women.
Yes,
So,
yes,
so
yes.
grateful to have you here and encourage everybody to check out that book.
Absolutely.
It comes out soon,
In
right?
June, early June. Yes,
Okay, so we don't have long to wait for that.
that's
That's
right.
awesome. So I'd love for you to share with us one of the biggest problems that you see in your industry now and how
Mm.
you're working to solve that.
So, because I just left the oil and gas industry, I'll talk a little bit about that and then transition to the industry I'm in now, which is coaching and consulting. So, oil and gas, I believe it is. I heard this term the other day and I loved it. A woman said, a lot of us say we're in a male dominated industry, and she changed it to male populated. We're not being dominated by these men.
Love,
They're just
love that.
around us a lot. So I'm like, ooh, that felt empowering too, right? So being though in a male populated industry, sometimes it's women find it challenging to find their voice, own it confidently, because they're either taught to be like a man, right? Or be quiet, one of the two. And so we find it hard to find our voice and know our worth and value. So I think the shift that needs to really change in the industry is just valuing other perspectives. Be inclusive. I know there's a lot going on in the news right now about DE&I, and a lot of it is inspiring and a lot of it is saddening to me. But I just think a bottom line boils down to we all have something to offer, no matter whether you're male, female, whatever race. Just own the diversity of thought. We come up with better solutions when we do that. Now, in the
Absolutely.
coaching industry, I just think since I'm kind of new to doing it as an entrepreneur, I think obviously more inclusive, I believe, but I want to see more coaches go to valuing kind of vulnerability and authenticity and pulling out the person and pulling out what their true passion and purpose is. Because honestly believe if you're following your passion and purpose, you're leading a more joyful life. And that just goes a ripple effect, right? amongst everybody.
And I'm going to have to share the thing that I find fascinating about what you just said
Mm,
is with you as a coach literally having to help pull out those
that's
vulnerabilities,
right. That's right.
right? And that's the thing. Most of us aren't walking around sharing, at that level,
Right.
especially when it comes to our career path. And I find it true too in working with women with, building their financial well-being.
Sure.
When I ask about what do you want, what do you want this money to do for you?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, well, that's the other thing. There's a whole nother, I'm sure if I flipped the script and asked you the question about financial, in fact, my co-host and I are going to do some series on financial wealth because we're still living in a time where women don't play a big part in that or don't know how to do it. And that's sad. And we need to change that script, right?
Absolutely. So that's awesome. So thank you for sharing that. And I did write out the male populated because
Don't you
I've
love it?
always said I've
Yes.
been in a male dominated industry, and like you, I got goosebumps when you
Right?
said it.
When
So I'm
she's
borrowing.
Yeah, when she said it, I was on a docu-series. It's called the Positive Energy Campaign, and they're trying to get out the word of just unbiased information about the oil and gas and the energy industry. And so they interviewed a bunch of women in that industry here in Houston. And Kat, her name's Kat, I forget her last name now, said it. I literally just, it stopped me in my tracks. And now I'm just stealing it because I'm like, that is brilliant.
Ooh, I love it too. I love it. So I would love for you to share with us too, Julie. Tell me what makes you unique in the way that you're helping people
Mm,
through this coaching business.
sure. And there's hundreds and thousands of coaches, right, around the world. And so I've often heard people say, well, I'm just one of many. Well, no, each of us brings something unique. So I love that you asked this question. What I've heard from coachees or other people, why I'm unique is my authenticity. I come from a place of knowing who I am. I have many experiences to draw from. So I am not coming in with, I don't understand what you're going through, right? I'm like, yep, been there, done that. I can relate to that. So I'm relatable and that I truly am fascinated by people. Like my husband, I drive my husband crazy because I'm constantly talking to everybody, but they fascinate me because I come from a place of curiosity, right? Rather than judging. So when you combine all that together and I'm really in it with you to win, maybe because I was a cheerleader, I don't know. I'm cheering you along and I just want to see the light bulb go on because back to your point earlier, Donna, when I said I'm pulling it out, I'm not solving anything for anybody. The woman already has it within her. My job is just to shine a light on it and help her see it, right? Through her lens and maybe through others' lenses. But I'm not telling her something because if I were just to tell her, she's not going to own it. You got to see that light bulb go on. So that's what makes me unique.
I love everything about that. So it's literally like I've always felt like everything that we need, we already have in us. We just
Absolutely.
get in our own way, right?
Absolutely. Mic drop right there because it's so true.
Well, and I love that. So I'm very curious to hear too how you see the industry changing over the
Mm.
next several years,
Hmm.
especially because there are so many coaches and coaches that focus on different things and
Yeah.
all. So what do you see happening and how are you staying on top of it?
I think, like I said earlier, there's so many of us, but we all bring something unique. So what maybe you and I aren't the right combination, and that's okay. But there's a coach out there for you. What I see changing, and I see changing in the therapeutic way as well, because of the spotlight on mental health being so important
Mhm.
in a positive way. I believe we're seeing that people are more apt to go for that, like go for the mental health, the self-care, the coaching they need, where before is like, why do you need a coach, right? Or why do you need a therapist? Something wrong with you?
Wrong.
No, there's
Mm.
nothing wrong with me. I'm just trying to be the better version of me or get those things that you and I just talked about are inside of us out so we can see it. And so I feel like we're really in a shift where it's becoming more acceptable, right? To have a coach. And I think that's really exciting. And now it's just about each individual woman, because I'm solely dedicated to the female population, owning it and embracing it. and knowing that it is okay to ask for help. In fact, it's a strength, and I respect it more than someone sitting in their home, spinning their wheels, trying to do it on their own. No, it takes a circle, a community, a tribe, a coach, whatever it is. Get out there and get the help. So I feel like that shift is happening. It's fun to watch.
Absolutely. So another thing, and I
Mm,
know we had talked earlier about challenges and how there's really not a challenge. It's all in
yes.
how you couch it.
Yes.
But I want you to share with me what the biggest failure or challenge
Mm,
is you faced to this point in your life. And that could be either personally or professionally,
yeah.
and how that shapes how you do business.
Yeah. Yeah, we just did another episode on the word failure. It's like
Mhm.
one of the four-letter words I don't like, right? There's some other four-letter words that I use quite often, but, um, failure to me gives such a negative connotation, like you didn't do something right, where I like to flip the script of it was which is what you said, it's either an obstacle or a challenge or something, but if you pivot it to be the narrative of it was an opportunity to learn, right? And you're able to reflect on what you learned, you're going to get so much more out of it. And you're not going to um, pick yourself apart, right? And get in this funk of, man, I failed. No, I didn't fail. I was trying something. How exciting. And I had the courage to try something. And what did I learn from that? So for me, leaving corporate America, and it's funny that I say this now, because aren't we like, what is it, cobbler shoes kind of thing, right? Like I coach on worth and value, but I realized within the first month or so after I left my corporate job that I put all of my worth and value in having work. I was working for a Fortune 10 company with a big job title and a big paycheck. And I thought that was who I was. And that's what I had to tell everybody because I looked important. And after reflecting, I'm like, wait, I'm more than that. That does not define me, right? So I learned within those first few months that when people ask me what I do not go to a job title now. I go to who I am and what I offer back to the world. And then if they push of like, well, what do what's your company? Then I will say it. But I think we often put that pressure on people, and especially women. If I were to ask a woman who's works from home or is a housewife or a homemaker, that's a huge freaking job. Okay. But
Mhm.
most women will downplay it and apologize for it. You know why? Because we're making them feel like it's less than because they don't have the big Fortune 10 company job title that I have. So now I don't even ask that question because I don't want to put people in an uncomfortable situation. So I've learned how to shift my own narrative and shift the way I approach women so that they feel confident when they're speaking to me and not feel undermined or having to compete with what I just said. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I want to ask you to actually tell me, yeah, share the phrase with me
Yeah.
instead of the what do
What do you
you
do?
do? I'm
Yeah.
going to ask you, what do you do? And I want you to
I
use
love
your
it.
what you are.
Okay.
Okay, Julie, tell us what you do.
Oh my gosh, Donna, let me tell you what I do. It's such cool stuff. I help women feel empowered and confident to own and articulate their worth and value and really live their passion and purpose. It's so exciting. That's what I do.
And that's so much better than being an empowerment coach.
Yeah, exactly. Or I own my own company or whatever. But sometimes I'll tack on to that I'm a mom and I'm a wife and I'm a connector, I'm a relationship builder, whatever that is. But and when I say it at least, I'm pumping myself up as well, right?
Mhm.
And they get more out of that than a job title. It's kind of like when you give a job title, you're given an old school business card. Well, there's no personalization to a business card. You didn't make a connection. You just exchanged digits, and that usually goes in a pile somewhere. But when I articulate what I just did, they're going to remember that.
Very powerful, very
Mm,
powerful. Share with me if you could only have lunch with one person,
yes.
living or deceased, who that would be and why.
So I love this question. Deceased is easy for me, but I'm sure a lot of spiritual faith based people would say Jesus. And I'm watching the TV series The Chosen, which is just moving. But I'm going to go with someone alive who I literally am trying to manifest this happening, Donna. So thank you for asking this question. Brene Brown is my BFF. She just doesn't know it yet. Okay. She doesn't know she needs to meet me, but she does. Okay. And we actually live in the same city. Our sons went to the same high school, and I've only been in her presence maybe 2 or 3 times, but she promotes boundaries. So I never go up to her and, start being a roadie or something, or a groupie, right? So I don't do that. But I would love to sit down with her because her energy is contagious and calming to me. And her insights about vulnerability and authenticity just ring so true to me. And I'm a student of hers as well. And so since I'm a lifelong learner and I would love just to get to pick her brain even more on a more personal level, about her, and for her to get to know me, because I could just see some advice coming that would be just earth shattering for me. So Brene Brown, if you're out there, girl, hook me up, man. Call me a call.
And I don't know if I could have honored those boundaries as well as you did, but I'm sure she appreciated that. She just doesn't know it yet, right?
Yeah. Well, when our boys were going to be freshmen at Strake Jesuit High School here, we were doing a tour. They gave a tour of the school, and I was on the tour. Donna literally was walking towards me and my son with her son. And I literally went dumb. Like my child was like, "What is wrong with you?" Because I was like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, it's Brene Brown. Brown G's. I can't say anything. Can I say something?" And I was in my head completely. And so all I did was, as she walked by, I said, "Brene, I love everything about you." And I just kept walking. And she said, "Thank you." And I just kept walking because I'm like, I wanted to honor her as well. But I've heard her speak multiple times as well.
Absolutely. From that
Mm.
very first TED talk, I'm hooked. So,
Yes, exactly. Most people are. Yeah.
right. Okay. Awesome. So, I would love for you to share with our audience the best way to reach out to you if they're interested in working with you, learning more
Yes.
about what you do, all of the things. Tell
All
us
of
how.
the things. Well, there's, today's landscape is all kinds of social media links and so forth, but I can give you a link to my link tree, which has all the links, like how to get to hold of me on my website, my Instagram, my LinkedIn, my podcast, all of that, all in one link. Cause I was like, God, I can't send out 20 links to people. Right. So I can
Right.
provide that to you, but it's a link tree URL, which is linktr.ee/elevate you coach, but I can send that to you as well.
Okay. And
Or you could just, find me on LinkedIn, Julie Flowers, Elevate You Coaching, both on LinkedIn and Instagram.
and thanks to Google, it's all pretty instant, right?
It is. Yeah, you can get it pretty easily. So that's awesome.
Awesome. Well, I thank you for being a guest today. I know that everybody's going to love hearing about how you're empowering women to
Yeah,
get out of their own way and to
that's
make
right.
things happen. So,
Right. Just remember you're awesome just how you are, right? And Donna, I appreciate the opportunity. And I want to thank you for doing what you're doing for women on the wealth side, because I really think that is important, because a lot of women I talk to feel they have no choices to follow their passion and purpose because of the financial piece, right? So the
right.
more they can learn about that piece, the more they'll be apt to follow what they want to do. So thank you for doing what you're doing as well.
Thank you for acknowledging that. I
Mm.
appreciate it.
Mhm.
I hope today's conversation left you feeling inspired, informed, and ready to take the next step in your financial journey. Remember, building wealth isn't just about money, it's also about creating a life that aligns with your goals and values. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with the women in your life who deserve financial empowerment too. Until next time, stay confident, stay empowered, and keep building the life you desire.